Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Tall Talk. My name is Corey. Thank you so much for joining us today. We got another special episode for you because we have a very special guest with us, and we catered the script just for him. And I'm going to introduce him. His name is Dosan. Welcome to the show, dude. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. My name is Dosan. It means friend. I'm everybody's friend.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be here.
Wow.
That
energy right off the bat is professional. You've been born to do this. You said you were born ready, but now I'm seeing it come to fruition.
Thank you. I've done one open mic.
The confidence shows.
It does.
The confidence shows. That was a tight 5. This is going to be like a tight hour.
Yeah.
So you're good.
It was the longest 3 minutes of my life.
I believe that. All eyes on you. There's no way out.
Oh, man. How are you doing, buddy? My buddy, Cale.
Doing well, brother. This is a long-awaited day. We've been talking about having you on for a while. So I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's this episode. And we're recording this in person, so I get to look you in the eyes.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
You're looking good. Corey's looking good.
Thank you.
And we're ready to kick this off. But yeah, it's a good night. I didn't have to go far to find you since we lived together, so this was good. The planning was easy. So
Perfect.
Yeah. How about you, Corey? How you doing?
I'm doing great
in your room, living room. So
yeah, in my own house tonight. No, I'm doing pretty good, man. I played Elden Ring most of the day, and I don't know, I had a couple video calls with you, but that was it. That was pretty much it.
That's pretty solid.
But in that time, we wrote a pretty great script for you. And if you're new to the show, typically start off with a topic that sets up the show. It either starts with a short story and ends in a would you rather. But today, we're just going to ask the would you rather. So, would you rather have daily precognition about your biggest life event of the next day, or be able to tell anyone's fortune but only once? Dosan, we're going to throw it to you, bud. You're in the hot seat today.
All right. The precognition stuff, that has actually happened in my life.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, right off the bat.
I've had the exact same thing happen. So it happened in a way of of a dream. And then it, like literally when I woke up, what I dreamed happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it happened to me twice. They both happened around the time, like, for example, like if you've worked with psychedelics and things like that, a lot of times psychedelics enhances your like psychic abilities.
Right.
If you have something like that, it'll like really like it's almost like steroids for you.
Yeah.
So it helps. I wouldn't say it helps. It just enhances it.
Right.
So I had done a iboga like a couple of years ago. So
is that related to, is that like DMT? Is that related to ayahuasca at all?
it's like ibogaine. Like a lot of people use it to quit hard drugs.
Right. It's like an anesthetic too, right?
Yeah. It usually helps with like, if you're trying to quit, I think it's dope related stuff. It's really effective with that. But it's also, they use it in Africa for coming of age ceremonies. So for like young children around like 12, 13, like, they would, it's a bark root.
Right.
It's like similar to like ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is like a combination of root and some vegetables, right? The chacruna and ayahuasca vine, stuff like that. But iboga comes from the iboga tree in Africa, right? So they just eat it like they eat until they puke, almost. And then they start dancing and then they start hallucinating. And through that journey, like it helps you become essentially like a man, like the next stage of your life, blah, blah, blah. And from my experience, like whenever I've done it, it like also it enhances like the psychic abilities like crazy. So about like a week after that had happened, I went on a work trip. And then I was at a hotel, like I went to sleep. And in my sleep, like right before I woke up, I had a dream where my coworker, like it was just us, we were on the trip together. And he called me and he was like, hey, let's meet in like 10 minutes downstairs by the lobby and blah, 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 right? And then I woke up. Right when I woke up, like the phone was ringing. And I picked up the phone and he goes, hey, let's meet in the lobby in 10 minutes.
Wow.
And then we'll finish up the rest of the project and then we'll do whatever, right? So that was like one time that had happened.
Right.
And then there was like another time where it was completely dry. Like it had nothing to do with psychedelics or anything like that. It was right before COVID had, actually there was another time. Okay. Right before COVID had started. And I felt like an energy just move up my body, right? Like started on my right leg and it just got hot. And it just moved up. And then right towards my ear, like the energy was moving and I could feel it. And in my ear, it just started going and it just popped. right? And then right when it popped, I started hearing like like sounds. I started hearing like distinct sounds, and I felt like I was in a room. There was like another person there, another person there, another person there. And there were like two people just going like, oh no, it's gonna like, everything's going to shit. Like they were just panicking and like screaming and like scared.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then there was like another very distinct voice that was coming towards me. And it was just like, everything's gonna be okay. Like everybody in your family, they're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, right? And because it had happened, like I got scared.
Yeah.
So when I got scared, like they just all of a sudden, like that thing just faded, and I just like faded away. But and I could feel like only thing that could like probably like comforts me or like I feel safe around, like person that I feel safe around is I guess my brother, because I felt my brother's presence like right next to me. And then like because I was like laying down, and I felt my brother felt like my brother was like right next to me, and we were like he was like laying down next to me. And then I was like kind of calmed down, and then I was like, all right. And then just kind of like calmed down, and it just woozed away. And then that was like week or 2 weeks before COVID.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So it was your family was okay then?
Yeah. Everybody's
Wow.
fine. Yeah.
So
Everybody
Two
got
for
COVID
two.
in my family, but like, you know, everybody has survived.
right.
So am I assuming that you'd prefer to have daily precognitions?
In terms of preference, like this is something I already know, right? Like it has happened to me before.
Right. You've experienced
I've
it.
experienced it before.
Right.
So daily precognition, either one is not preferred, to be honest with you. Like it's
Ooh.
Okay.
you know, like it's a tricky subject.
Yeah.
Like everything has pluses and minuses, right? Both
Yeah.
of them have like pluses and minuses.
Absolutely.
This one I know like the pluses and minuses, and I also know like as you get slowly like integrate those experiences, you start to understand how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And number one thing is fear, right? If anytime like especially if you have the ability to channel, like mediumship and all those things is essentially channeling stuff, right? You're channeling your higher self, you're channeling spirit guides, or like channeling something, channeling God,
Right.
whatever God means to you, right? The universe. So if you're like channeling and doing those stuff, you got to keep the pipes clean, right? So like you got to separate your ego from the thing, and you have to like completely let the thing come through you. So like, so it's a clean and like transmission where it's more accurate. Right?
Okay, gotcha.
So like if you're attached to the idea of whatever the message is, it's already like corrupted a little bit.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
Because like it's coming through your mind and everything, like your ego is like grabs onto it and be like, oh, I have this ability. Like I like this. Like if you go like, I like this. And then it gives you like certain level of power and certain level like this thing. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be completely like clean in a way where there should be non-attachment. Like there's zero attachment. Right. So like if you know, like it's similar to like if you play sports or any type of thing, like art's the same thing, right? If you know, like when you get in the zone, that's like, it's like a very delicate place that you go to, right? It's like, if you get too attached to it, it goes away. It has to be like a very flowy situation. And it just like, you just let it happen.
The premonition?
Just generally, like the premonition, all those like abilities is kind of like related to like channeling. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
So in order to be a good channel, in order to be those things, you have to have like non-attachment to it. If you get attached to it, it's not that great.
That's very difficult.
Yeah.
I will immediately confess that I will have trouble with that.
So
Immediately.
Yeah. So like based off of that, I don't know. I guess you just go with the devil that you know, right?
Right.
So like, I know how that feels. I know how it works. I know like where it can be very uncomfortable. So that works out. So like, I know how that works out in general. Yeah. But also like I have worked with people where like I pull cards for them and I would like do script writing for them.
Yeah.
I used to do I did a couple of times for people where I did their karma cleansing stuff, right? So like I would write like essentially a story for them, but it's related to whatever it is. But it also like use your channeling abilities and you just write it down and then you give it to them and then you like let them burn it. Usually you want to do it around like full moon. I think full moons are usually releases, and new moons you set new intentions of your life and stuff like that, right? So if you do that, like it amplifies whatever it is. So like I can work with both. Like both things, I've done it.
Okay. So what's your choice though?
Yeah.
You gotta
That's not
There's
an
no
You gotta
option.
make one.
There's no choice because like you
You knew this.
I guess I'll go with precognition.
There it
stuff,
is.
Yeah.
We forced them into it.
We forced him to make a choice. I like it.
All right. Well, what about you, Cale?
I don't know how to follow all of that.
All right. Cut the break.
I'll just
Cut
go
the
to
ads.
yeah, cut the ads. Yeah. Please. Like the personal side of me, like my self-serving side is like precognition would be very nice to kind of have an insight into stuff. I'm an overthinker. I wouldn't say I'm an anxious person, but I definitely will overthink one thing like really hard. So
Yeah.
I feel like knowing something would be like a little bit of a reprieve for me. But you said you like kind of touched on this to like let things flow naturally or to let things, I have an complex for sure. I would immediately have like a God complex if I could tell other people's stuff. So part of me is like, I would like that power, but then I wouldn't want to be responsible for how someone acts,
Right. How they perceive
or how
it.
they perceive my news or the steps they take as a direct reflection of what I'm telling you, unless it's a positive thing. And I can't promise that. So I feel like I would rather choose precognition just for my own sake
Okay.
and for something that I can control. If I'm going to experience something or the biggest life event of the next day that has to do with me, I'd rather keep that internal, even though I would like to help people, I guess, with telling their fortunes. But I feel like that's a lot of weight to it. I'd rather just internalize all of the news, good or bad, that I'm going to have for myself. So I guess precognition also, I'll keep this one close to the chest.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
for
like
myself.
it would be for me, a little too difficult to wake up knowing that something bad is going to happen. So I would rather have my life be a lot more unpredictable and just be able to tell another person's fortune.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just worry like once you tell somebody their fortune once, like if you can only do it once and it comes true, like how much they believe it and then want to come back to you for advice. But like you have to tell them like, I can't do this again. Or do you lean into it? Like
That's very fair. Like, do you, like I said, I immediately like God complex stuff. Would you just lean into that fully and be like, I can say whatever and they will believe me?
Yeah.
Especially if something came true, like, I don't know, and it's a positive thing and they're like kind of in the palm of your hand type deal. I mean, not everybody
'cause
thinks that way. Not everybody wants to manipulate people or to have like this kind of complex, but it could be very easy to do that, I would imagine.
I think it would be great to go up and fuck with people though. Just like, hey, like
for sure.
like I know what bad
I'm
is
not
going to
going to
happen.
tell you.
Yeah.
But I know.
Something bad.
I know
see
it's
it.
coming. And then you're just like constantly making people paranoid.
Yep. I guess we could do that now.
Also, like a thing with fortune telling and seeing into the futures, right? Like construct of time, and we make things linear. Like that's how we perceive everything.
Right.
That's how
Right.
we perceive time. That's how we like through time we experience this linear thing,
Right?
The future, past, and all that stuff, right? But the thing about like fortunes is it's never set in stone.
Right. That was one of the biggest questions we had about this is like how much of it, but continue. Yeah.
So like it's never set in stone.
Right.
Like we live in a reality where there is multiverse, right?
Mhm.
There is multiple parallel lines that you can go through.
Right.
So what you're looking at is not the future exactly. You're looking at a momentum of energy.
Right.
So like the momentum of energy that you've lived so far, where you're heading right now. And that's kind of like, that's where you're being led towards.
Yeah.
Right. And so like those things can shift. And
Yeah, especially like what we were talking about is like how much of your fate can you really choose? Because everybody knows there is no fate but what you make,
No
according to
fate.
Terminator.
But what you make,
right.
James Cameron.
But like, if jokes aside, like if you see your fate and you see something happening and you do everything you can to avoid it, do you actually end up actualizing the fate that you were trying to avoid? And that's like a big worry, especially like if you're having precognitions about your daily life every day. Like if you
Right.
have these inklings of your fate for that day, do you choose to avoid it or do you try and address it head on regardless of what the situation is?
In all honesty, like it's not
On this show?
We're getting down to the
we don't believe in honesty, right?
nitty gritty.
Okay. It's all like touchy-feely. These things are not set in stone of like, this is real facts, right?
Since when?
This is like more of esoteric ideology,
Mhm.
right? It depends on which level you're playing at and which like how you're looking at it and which direction and all that stuff. But like I said, it's like the momentum of energy you're looking into. But a lot of the times that I've had precognitions, it's happened exactly the way it happened.
Okay.
That's
right?
pretty wild.
Yeah,
like
you know what?
shot
Honestly,
for shot.
I was going to go a little bit into this, maybe a little bit later, but I have had precognitions as well. I read about it that mostly or children are really susceptible to it. And I had a lot of precognitions as a child.
Damn, that's going to be very weighing, I would imagine, as a kid.
Oh, yeah. It was horrible, unlike these ads.
Hey everyone, my name is Tyler Soto, creator and host of the weekly Tall Talk. I would like to say thank you for listening to today's episode. If you like what you've been hearing, we would love to know what you think. After the episode, don't forget to leave a comment or reach out to us on our socials where you can find us at the weekly Tall Talk. We're excited to say that we're working on a couple other awesome projects for this year. If you would like to know more about that or find out what else we're working on, we have a Patreon and Discord that you can subscribe to where we can be found at Tall Tale Network. And if you have any other questions or ideas for what you'd like us to discuss on the show, please email us at talltalenetwork@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I hope those ads weren't as horrible as I told you they weren't. We're going to go into the next line of questioning, and we're actually going to focus on my choice for this one. Because it's
shocking.
my fucking show.
Oh,
So we're going to pretend that you can tell anyone's fortune, but only once. So with that in mind, would you only do this for people you care about, or would you turn this into a business? And Cale, you're looking a little perplexed. So we're going to go with you this time.
the money grubbing side of me wants to fully roll this out into a factory of dreams and falsehoods.
You're going to invest in yourself.
Damn, putting myself first. I believed in myself. No, but like you said, it none of this is set in stone, but it would be a really awful feeling to read like one of my close friends and have like something super shitty to tell them.
Yeah.
But then I mean, I could maybe like turn that off. If I end up turning it into a business, I would have to do that for whoever. So maybe I could like detach myself. I don't think I'm as good of a salesman or as a talker as I think I am. So I think I would just do it for people that I care about, to be honest with you.
You kind of keep it secret.
Yeah. I mean, especially if we can just do it the one time, it'd be like a one-time thing. If whoever wanted me to do it, I guess I would just do it. And then hopefully it's good news for you. Because otherwise, I mean, sorry guys, hopefully this doesn't ruin our relationship, but
It kind of does.
I don't know. The whole business thing, if this was a perpetual thing where I could constantly read people or be in tune with this, you guys know me personally, like I'm not open that way. I just never wanted it. I don't deny it in any way. It's just like I've closed myself off. But maybe that would affect my answer. But if it's just a one-time thing, I think it would just be for loved ones and friends and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. Wait, do you think like you would try and do with every new friend you meet? Like would it be like a point like, hey, just so you know, I can also tell your future, but only once?
That might be a hard sell for some people. Like, why would I say that? You say that way too early.
Just start
like,
doing it to all your coworkers.
It's like, it's not good. It's not good. You need to stop. Just stop immediately, please. You're freaking everyone out. I think this would only be for people that would like, I guess, trust me enough, or just be like, this is, or people who are inquisitive, just like, let's see where this goes. I feel like that could be if like one of you guys was like, oh, I can read your stuff or do this. I mean, I honestly I trust you guys and I like have love for you. So like, I probably would like allow that and like take that more wholeheartedly than like a random person. But yeah, I think I would just reserve it for people I know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be out in the street.
What about you, Dosan?
Well, I mean, it relates to the thing I was telling you earlier, right? It has to do with that you have to keep a clear channel in order to look at the correct information without your ego getting attached and all that stuff. Well, actually, a lot of mediums, from what I've heard, when I was some mediums told me that most mediums cannot do readings for people who are in their closest vicinity.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, it's
Because
like
there's too much attachment.
Oh, interesting.
That makes
So,
a
like,
lot of sense.
Right? Like whatever that comes through, those things come in like kind of sometimes faintish, strong. Like it's not a loud noise.
Yeah.
It's a soft noise, but it's prominent kind of. So if it comes through and then your thought goes in, it's like a thought bubble. Now like it overwrites, or whatever information comes in, and then now you start manipulating the information.
Okay.
In a
So
way,
that
So
even-
you change it by being attached to it.
yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
And this is something that you could keep, like be mindful of, or is this just something that would be subconscious? Like you wouldn't even notice that you were doing it, or you would have to be very cognizant of it.
I mean, if you're cognizant of it, then you can separate it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's very subconscious. So like if some information comes through, like blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, oh, it's probably because of this. Because if you know the person too, like very well, you know their behavior, you know their subtleties just based on like your human interaction level, right?
Right.
So like, oh, it's because of these behaviors that's going to happen. He smokes too much, he's going to get lung cancer. That's how he's going to die or whatever. Like now you overridden whatever information that came through
Right.
with the information that you already know,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
So like the accuracy would be kind of diluted in a way. But some people, there are those who can do it for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah. And also like if you want to make a business out of it, if you can just do it once, that's kind of like not really a good business plan.
Well, so I'll push back on that a little,
Yeah,
just for
right.
the,
We
from
kind
the
of talked about this earlier. Yeah, exactly.
So, and I think this links directly into what you're saying too, is like how well you know the person. I think if you were going to have this as a business where you do want to meet people, then you would be studying other parts of mediumship or the esoteric. And I think that cold reading would be one of the bigger things that I would want. So I can tell someone's future the first time, or excuse me, their fortune the first time, have it be an accurate prediction, and then use cold reading and notes based off of them coming back, and then use that for my prediction methods going forward. It wouldn't say it would be in any ways longevity, but
Right.
you would increase your chances of getting that person back twice.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would just be, well, you know, we're tapped in, but this is more of like a business thing that I have to keep going. So like you would always have to find those new people to keep coming in. And I think with having those accurate predictions, you would hope that word of mouth would really help with something like that.
Right. And I mean, if someone's returning to you for a second time, don't you already kind of somewhat have them?
That's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
this depends on like you as
the
a
first
person.
taste is free, bro.
Right. But going into kind of what you're saying, I'm not as familiar, so I'll just like paraphrase and you feel free to correct me. But if you're already coming into this with the feelings of possibly like manipulating people or saying, oh, I can kind of con this a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Wouldn't your channels already be messed up? But like, wouldn't it wouldn't really matter because you're not actually doing a reading, right? So you're saying the first time you would need like this kind of clear path for unfiltered information or however you would word it.
Right.
But if you're not actually reading someone the second time, it wouldn't really matter because you're not cognizantly trying to be accurate or truthful.
Yeah. Because
someone.
you want the business to continue.
Right. So you could maybe be very specific the first time and then play the vague aspect of, oh, you know, this or this. Oh, somebody's close to you is going through a hard time. Well, that's everyone.
Right.
Right. That's like relates to everything, kind of goes on a kind of little bit of a spectrum, right?
Right.
So there is people who are actual mediums that are good.
Yeah.
And then there is also people who are very good at cold reading, right?
Right.
There's, books written about it.
And
There's
John
even
Edwards, dude.
Yeah. There's even it's called the Barnum's effect, right?
Is that okay?
There's like I think it's called Barnum's effect. It's it's like how, it's not how horoscopes work, but it's similar to something along the lines of, and somebody comes over, like, for example, you come over to me and then we're discussing you and your future and all that stuff, right? And you come in and I go, you're a very kind person. And a lot of people take advantage of that character.
Yeah.
that you
General
have.
statements.
It's like a
cold reading.
general statement, right?
Generalization.
Yeah, exactly.
with a-
Generalization, but everybody thinks they're kind,
Right.
right? Somebody comes in, you're like, you're kind of a bad person. Nobody goes, you're kind of a bad person.
Right.
Nobody says that.
I would trust somebody who came up and is like, I see that you are a narcissistic person.
Well-
This and this. I would be like,
especially like where if you're talking about like a first time customer and the true premonition that you have for them is you're seeing their unkindness in action, and it actually happens to them the way that you explain around it. And then again, I still think you got that person hooked, whether or not they're good or bad.
Right.
And I think like maybe by calling out, well, I wonder too, because we talked about like calling out the fate itself. So if you call it out, do you then start changing it? Like if you say, I see you performing a bad action like thievery in the future, does that person, like it's then on them to decide whether or not they're going to be a thief for that point. But did you alter their perception by calling it out?
Exactly. Like that plays into the part of like the conversation we were having. It's like fate and whatever path you're on in this thing. You said nothing's set in stone. This is how things change. But if you're brought aware of something, does that not immediately make your thoughts different?
Yeah.
You say, oh, you really hurt my feelings. I'm immediately going to be like, what can I do to fix this or not have this happen again?
Mm-hmm.
That's my first thought of like, oh, how do I fix this? So you've already like pivoted from what you would be like as a person not knowing that information. So anything with fate like that, or anything that would be like an action or something like that, I said the second you say something or call it out directly, I would only be able to focus on that.
Right.
That me personally, I don't know, people shrug that off or do this, but like, I think you do automatically like change your perception of things the second something's brought to your attention. Like ignorance is bliss until somebody smacks you in the face with something that you out of left field or something that you directly do. And then you're like, oh, I should really work on that.
And especially if somebody's calling this behavior or this prediction out, that is a complete stranger to you, because you have gone to a person who you perceive as an authority on this subject, and they are telling you these are the things that are going to happen, then you would have this bias, this confirmation bias of I want to believe this.
Right. Like you meet your destiny on your way to avoid it, right?
Right.
That's like every Greek tragedy.
Damn, let's can we put a pin in that? Is that
That's
yours?
perfect.
No, it's not mine. It's no,
that's dong
it's
wish
based on
right
a
there.
We're like
put it on a
shirt.
shirt.
Yeah. No, it's somebody famous probably said it. I heard it in an English class in college. So like, yeah, we were reading Oedipus Rex, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, like he meets his destiny on his way to avoid it, right? Like they said that he was going to kill his father, and he ends up killing his father. And marries his mother, right?
As it goes,
as like
it's
every
the olden days, it's fine, man.
I mean, when he found out,
didn't he kill himself?
Yeah, he killed himself, and his mother blinded herself with her. Yeah, like she poked her eyes with the thing,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then the next part of the story becomes the story of his daughter, like, but still. So now it goes into like another whole thing of free will, right?
Yeah,
and like what I got really interested in the beginning of all this thing was like esoterics and all these things was when I was like trying to figure out like what's the meaning of life? Like, what does it mean? Is there a meaning? What's the purpose? Like, I felt so purposeless. I didn't have any meaning. I just felt floating around, like
going into existentialism, like evolving into that.
Right. Existentialism and then like a nihilistic outlook on life of generally just like nothing means anything. But that's the truth.
Yeah.
Right. That's like you get to that place and that's like a void space, right? And in many ways, like Eastern nihilistic and existential things, it also kind of has similar ideologies. Not the same, but like similar, like almost like similar tastes to it. Like analogous things of like Taoism is kind of very similar to that, right? Taoism, Buddhism, and all that stuff.
Right.
Like suffering exists.
Yeah.
And what do we do about that? It's just is. Most things in life is just is.
Yeah.
You can't force anything. You just be like water, Like that was like the whole Bruce Lee's thing that he was talking about. He actually got that off of the Tao Te Ching stuff.
Okay.
So that he was he used to read that a lot. Like he was a big student of Taoism. So that's the same ideology of like your life is going to happen to you, similar to Stoicism, but like less softer. And it's all about how you react to it. You get to choose how you live. Right. So it kind of like combination of free will and destiny. Both are valid. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then who gets to choose the free will? And then that kind of goes into like a different topic and discussion. And a lot of the times people can just like, yeah, your higher self, right? Like your soul before you were incarnate, like you essentially set up these life paths and life experiences that you're going to have that'll enrich your soul and give you like this experience.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, life is about experience. You get to experience all these things. And then people don't like, in my experience, I mean, also like nobody likes having terrible, like negative experiences.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're
I can
pretty
attest. I can attest to that. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think many people seek that out.
Yeah.
No.
Like nobody seeks out bad experiences. Like everybody wants the blissful, like happy and all that stuff. So in essence, like if you live a full human, that's what it is to be human essentially, right?
Yeah.
You have to have the lows in order to have the highs.
Right.
And those complement each other. Like Alan Watts says, like, you can't have the short without the long. You can't have the black without the white, right? Like those things have to exist, especially since we live in a dualistic nature. Like this is duality, like third density, like this earth and this experience is all about that. I think I'm kind of digressing from the original question.
You want money or not?
but like but the thing of like, yeah, it goes back to the free will and destiny. From our perspective, it's pretty much destiny. This is the conclusion I've come to. And so far in my life, all the conclusions I've come to at some point was wrong. So like, it's never simplistic. It's a combination of things. It's never this or that. It's this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Both are valid.
I see that. It's not an or, it's an and. Okay.
It's an and, you know?
Right.
It's never black or white. There's things that happen in a gradient of things. And at the same time, as you elevate your consciousness, you have to have the ability to hold two truths at once, right? So like, that's what they talk about. And like one of the Hermetic principles is all paradoxes shall be resolved, right? How do you resolve paradoxes? It's nature is a paradox, right? Yeah. So in order to solve a paradox, you have to hold both truths at the same time to be true. So like, in that sense, yeah. I don't know. Life is weird. I think I didn't really answer the main question. I would like to, I'm going to start a business right now in this moment. You guys are here.
Wow, ground floor.
The first
floor,
customers. Very nice.
Join the party. If any of the listeners want to contact me for a reading, you can email me at mazy719@gmail.com.
Very nice.
Same name on Instagram. You can slide in my DMs.
Mazy719@gmail.com or Instagram. Check them out. Starting a business.
MAZY719.
Hey, it's your boy Mason from Men of Misfortune here. We're a comedy podcast with 3 different segments. We cover anime/pop culture, true crime, and bizarre news, all while taking on some interviews. We drink, we smoke, and we know how to have a good time while making you feel like you're a part of the show. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts. And don't forget to check out our Patreon for bonus content. And for more updates, follow us on Instagram at Men of Misfortune. Remember, stay misfortunate and always listen to Mom. Now, back to your regularly scheduled program.
All right, and we're back from those ads. I got more questions for you. I hope you have answers because I want to hear them.
Ooh.
Let's say that we were both right in this. Let's say that all of our choices allow us to see our premonitions. I'll stick with mine of I could see other people's fortunes, and you guys can stick with your answers of being able to have a premonition about your big life event for the next day. How specific, when seeing these premonitions, would you want them to be? Would you want these ideas to be crystal clear, like 4K quality, like you are there at the event? Or do you think it would be more nebulous where you kind of have to pick and take things out of this? And Dosan, you're kind of the obvious authority on this in the room, so we'll go with you this time.
So you're asking how clear do I want the, like, in terms of details,
Yeah,
the
like the
information that you want to
precognition.
come
Do you
through?
want it to be exactly like as it will unfold, or do you want it to be like a hint of something?
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
if you have this premonition in your dream about what's going to happen the next day, do you want to be
Right.
in your eyes doing the thing to the end of that event?
Right. Okay. So it's usually like when I had those visions or like things that happened to me that happened that way.
Yeah.
It's always situations where if I didn't know beforehand, I would really like panicked or freaked out or something like that.
Mhm.
It was always like, this is gonna happen, but you're gonna be okay, type of thing.
That's
Right.
kind of a comforting thing.
So like, yeah, a lot of things like
Okay.
like it's comforting, or like at least I knew it beforehand, type of thing. I don't know. A lot of times, like right before it happened, I was like, I knew this was gonna happen.
Right.
So I had like
Right.
this little bit of calmness to me, right? I'm like sitting in the room, and then like he walks through, like, so in terms of clarity, it's usually very clear.
Right.
It's exactly like it's happening in real life. So like I see them, I got fired and I had a dream about it, right? So I saw my boss walk down the same aisle, come like walking towards me, and in my head, like I knew it right away. Like last night I had a dream.
Yeah.
That's
and,
wild.
And I'm like, I'm about to get fired right now. Right?
That's pretty wild. Like the fact that you've had like repeated like incidents of being able to have this precognition and stuff really just kind of opened my eyes to your like, I don't know, like aptitude, I guess, for having that energy be like bestowed upon you or being open to it, or like you said, channeling. That's very interesting to me. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of floored by it. Like I said earlier, I kind of shut myself off,
Right.
but to see someone who experiences it more than once and have it be that accurate is pretty wild. I like it. Not the firing part, but
Yeah, I don't think there's
the
some
other
like that
stuff,
either.
whatever the good stuff is, I'm here for it.
Right. That's also a thing of like, these are things that happened over like 33 years of my life, right? And those things happen also very pivotal moments. Like we were talking about earlier, like does that change your future? Perhaps it did for me, right? Like if I didn't have that thing happen, maybe like I would have been a different timeline.
But you didn't know it was happening until you were already in the moment.
Right.
Right. That's true.
So yeah, like that's why you always got to be in the moment, right? When you're in the moment, you can absorb way more information around you at all times.
That's hard to do, man.
It
That's
is,
just
man.
being aware
extremely
all the
hard.
time.
Oh yeah. They're
Extremely hard.
I'm always a look forward type of person, or I'm just now getting to a point like with recent events and stuff that's happened in my life to be able to like say, don't take this for granted. Enjoy it right now because, you know, anything can happen.
Right.
And that's a very hard thing for me. I don't like change. I don't like anything. So whenever stuff gets set in motion, I'm very much like, oh, I want more of that exact thing. I can't like not, I like you said earlier about like being detached from stuff. I'm working on it, but it's very hard for me to detach. So like you said, being in the moment is hard. I'm learning to try to be more like that, but I'm very much solely like future on looking like, oh, in this amount of time, or, oh, I can't wait till the next time instead of enjoying it right now. You know what I mean?
Right. And it also becomes that thing is like being in the moment is not a hard focus, right? When you're doing like studying or doing something, doing work or something, like I'm focusing. You're not focusing on the moment. You're letting the moment happen. It's a soft focus.
Right.
Right. Being in the moment is a soft focus and letting everything happen. And you get rid of all the extra energy of yourself, like anxiety that's happening in the moment, depression, anger, all that stuff, right? You are in a serendipitous, calm state. And so like if you meditate, that's exactly what it is. Like you meditate, you bring your awareness back to yourself, or like you focus on the breath and all that stuff. You let your thoughts go, right?
Right.
And learning to be in the moment is exactly the same thing. You always constantly bring yourself back to the moment. When you're like thoughts and then you get attached to the thought, and then those thoughts start creating emotions, and then those thoughts like monkey mind, all those things that are happening, all that stuff, right? And like keep practicing, meditating and all those things makes you aware of how to handle those things.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right? You just bring yourself back, take a deep breath, focus on your breath. And then you also like bring your parasympathetic, like your sympathetic nervous, like its system down a notch. So you're not in fear or flight. You're just zenned out. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So like you're in the moment right there.
Right.
You can constantly do that over and over again. It's hard because your mind always wanders away, right? So you just keep bringing yourself back over and over again. And then you practice. Eventually you're much better at it.
Oh, bro, I got ADD. Yeah. I don't like that. It's hard for me to focus on like anything at one given moment because I got a movie playing in the back of my head.
Oh,
like Terminator 2 still going off. I think I got a song from earlier still going on.
Oh, yeah.
But I got to be here and focused for this. And like,
right. It's hard.
It's hard.
That's definitely a delicate balance.
Yeah. It is hard. Like I know it is hard.
Yeah.
I know 100% it is hard. But I also know the minimal, like step by step, that differences you can notice, right? I have the same way. I have like ADHD. In my head, there's 20 tabs open at all times. Yeah. Right? There's a music happening all the time. There's a music that's stuck. There's a joke that's going on. And then I'm thinking about a family problem. I'm thinking about work problem. I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about that, right? And then like just goes crazy. And then those moments, that's exactly the moment I bring myself back.
Yeah. Right. Or else, I mean, we just go crazy.
Yeah. I just let those thoughts and I was like, oh, this is not me. These are like the thoughts that I've always entertained. So it goes on and on.
Yeah.
And some of these thoughts aren't even originated from me. Like, right? Like these are like thoughts that I inherited from my parents.
Right.
Right. Like I'm judging somebody and I'm judging them based on the thing I learned as a child.
Yeah.
Right.
It's funny that like, we all are pretty different, but brain wise, we all feel the same stuff, like regardless of like how different we are in our mannerisms or how we think about things. Like you said, it's like this overwhelming amount of thing. And maybe that's just overstimulation from our world that we live in right now. There's just so much stuff. Yeah. Like I'll be watching a movie, have my phone on and be talking to Debbie and be doing something and then thinking about, like you said, there's like 40 different things all the time. I'm never in a restful state, which is like probably why we're stressed out or you have this like anxiety and all. I don't feel like I'm an anxious person until recently. I've like had a bit of anxiety, but like I can see very easily how people are anxious. Before I was kind of very dismissive of it because I've never had it to me. I had no empathy. I had no sympathy for it. But now as I've gotten older, my sister has anxiety and stuff like that. I'm like, I understand how people get fucking really anxious about stuff. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. So
then would you want to see your biggest life event of every day with crystal clear quality?
I would just for the fact of like being able to recognize what it is. Like you said, you knew immediately your boss or you knew immediately that I was going to get the phone call, stuff like that. I would find comfort in that knowing what it was, even if it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
I feel like I would find a little bit of comfort in saying, oh, I've already seen this, which would be good. But then the flip side of that for me would be if I could do that every day, spontaneity. I feel like life is spontaneity. We could just randomly go do something right now. And like it was not planned for tonight.
Cut to ads again.
Oh God. But I mean, would the spontaneity be gone of life of every major thing that happens to you in life you've seen every day?
I think you might focus on like because I still think that you would have that sense of accomplishment if it were an accomplishment and you would be able to enjoy the minor accomplishments around it. I think where it would get really scary is like if you clearly see your death.
Oh yeah, like that would be a trip.
That's the day. That's it.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
I know how I'm gonna die.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna die surrounded by family.
Hey.
Oh, hey. Family.
Oh yeah.
And everybody I know right now, they're gonna die before me.
That's fair. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No, I get that one. Given my lifestyle. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't mean you guys. Like I saw it was
sorry, we're not family.
We're not family.
Yeah, sorry guys, you're not family.
Yeah. You're not Ohana, brother.
You're not Ohana.
But we might live longer than Dosan. So
yeah, there's a possibility.
There's see, there's the good and the bad. You said take everything.
There we go. Take the good with the bad. Yeah. But yeah, it's hyper like reality and all that stuff. But sometimes like emotions just come through. Right? I think somebody was explaining like it's exactly like how is it Intergalactic? What is that movie with
Interstellar?
Interstellar, right? You know how he sends himself the information to the past? You've never seen Interstellar?
No.
I've seen I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So like it apparently works like kind of pretty similar to that. you know how like he gets the coordinates to the place that he needs to go, but like later on in the movie, you see that he's the one who sent all those information.
Yeah, he was getting these clues and getting these things, but it was himself helping himself.
Yeah, time gets really fucky in space.
Right, it's awesome.
Right. So like it's working off of that thing, like who's sending the information? Like, you know, they talk about your higher self, and some people go like your higher self is your future self. And then your higher self is essentially yourself that has all the information of all your past lives and things like that. I guess I don't 100% agree with it. I'm not sure. But at the same time, there's like oversouls and all those things, right? So like, it's kind of weird. Like if you think about it, it's circular almost, right?
Right. Instead
The
of
beginning and the end kind of meet with each other.
Yeah. That's my belief. Like we were talking, like I agree that we can only perceive time linearly because we live in the third dimension. But I believe that time is a circle. It's just a flat circle. Just
That's why
going
we have
around and
clocks,
around.
brother.
Right. It's actually, they say it's not circle, it's helical. Like it goes like in circle, but it goes ascent, right? You get to look at the same thing from different perspectives.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that before.
Higher
That's very interesting.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get a little bit of recognition that I've not made one Creed joke for as many times as you said higher self.
You just made one.
Can
you take
me
higher?
Can we sync it up? 3, 2, 1.
Can you take me higher?
Perfect.
That's for Lester.
I'm gonna move on just a bit and answer the question myself. I think that I would want to be very crystal clear, especially telling somebody else's
Exactly.
fortune.
That was my first thought. It's like I would definitely want crystal clear if I'm relaying something that was possibly very, very important to you. I would want to have vivid detail.
Well, also, I think yes, but in addition to that, like it's such a unique perception into another person's life. And you would get to see that perception from a new point every day.
Right.
I think, and that's what really attracts me to it, is being able to have this newness. Like were I to predict my daily events, like you're saying, Cale, which goes into the conversation that we were having previously of like kind of predetermining your fate. Even if you were living your day randomly and moving a new place every single day, if you saw the biggest event of your day for the next day, then you're still going into that fate and you're still seeing something for yourself.
You're playing catch up
with
your own decisions.
Right. And being able to predict other people's, it's a moment in time for them that I get to be a part of, and then I get to go live the rest of my life in constant chaos.
Right. That's a little bit of like a gateway into someone's, maybe not their soul is probably not the right word, but you definitely experienced a life force through that person that you would be in tune with. So that would be a kind of an out of body experience for somebody.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the fact that like you go into it and think about like how you want to perceive it creates control of the situation, right? Now you're attached to the idea. It's kind of corrupted because
it's already a little corrupt.
But we're saying this as meeting somebody new and then telling them their fortune.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have attachment.
On the spot. Right. But the control is coming from you. The whole thing is you're the channel. But if you have, I want to do like, I mean, obviously you have your preferences, like when it comes through blah, 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 right? But the thing of like, you want to have a control over it, right? I want to know all the information. I want to know all this. The truth is the information that comes through, it's not about you. It's about the other person.
Oh, sure.
All the time, right?
Yeah.
So the information that would come through is something that is useful for them in that moment, perhaps. Right? In that specific thing.
Could you just flip side this and ask the person how vivid you want it? Would that be a possibility? That way you're not, like you're saying, like you're not controlling it, other than wanting that information to come through you if it's from another person.
No,
or is that still attachment?
Like just the fact that you're thinking about it and all that stuff creates it. Like it's like a very like just let it happen thing.
But isn't that then, this may be a little harsh, so for lack of a better phrasing in the moment, would that not then take away all of the power from current psychic mediums and clairvoyance? because they themselves are the attachment point. And you're saying by being that anchor, you're changing the outcome.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying anchor. Like it has nothing to, it has how you're thinking about it is what I'm talking about.
Well, sure. But I mean, that's just for the question is like, if I were to see someone else's future, I would want to see in 4K.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like these things are like, there's no like very clear, distinct way of like, everybody does it the same way. Everybody has a little different methods and things like that. Right. It's the thing of like, first you have to understand yourself. Right.
That's hard enough.
So like, first you have to understand yourself and all that stuff. To be honest, like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. Like I just know about myself, like how I work. Right.
You heard it here first. None of it's real. None of it's real.
Like maybe it's real, maybe it's not. There's like people who cold read just as well and all that stuff. But the person, like in terms of when I got a reading, like usually people are just telling me things of like, hey, these are the things just kind of focus on. If it's somebody gets super specific, to be honest, it kind of like makes me doubt them a little bit.
Oh, so you like a kind of a bit of a vagueness.
Yeah,
that's more comforting than you than like a direct.
No, I just realized something.
I
fucking love mysteries.
Want to solve your own life?
So I guess maybe
the Dom
like
files.
The whole thing is like like a lot of these things is super confusing. Like that's why like sometimes you just don't want to like even think about it or like touch it or like you just let it be. Like you don't go chase it or something.
Yeah, this is interesting, especially from me being the least experienced with this, to hear the counterpoints or everything that goes into it is not very, very clear cut at all. Like of what I was expecting. Like, oh, I want to know about this. Doesn't work like that. Oh,
right.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't work like that for me. Maybe somebody who's just like, yeah, I can see the future like very clearly. And like, I mean, I've met people who can read minds.
Right.
Right. Like, right.
Lester.
Oh, I think I'm actually seeing something right now.
Oh, no. What is it? Soften the distance.
It's these ads.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Dosan Jyenis. I'm everybody's friend, and I'm here to be your friend. If you need any type of psychic readings, I do tarot, oracle card readings, as well as if you're going through some sort of dark night of the soul situation, I can help you with that. Mentorship, talk therapy, things along those lines. You can contact me at mazy719@gmail.com. Thank you.
All right, more questions, more answers. I got them. You have them.
Ooh.
Is that good? I don't know. Who cares? Let's get into this. If you haven't before, I have not. Folks at home, let us know. talltalenetwork@gmail.com. Are you open to seeing a psychic? Cale, I want to go with you. I think I know Dosan's response on this.
I feel like his
of yes or no, but would you? Because you said you're not perceptive to this. So going forward from this conversation, is it something that you're interested in doing?
Right. I kind of already, when we had thought about this, I kind of had already said no in my head, but knowing that you've not necessarily had, I want to equate it to fortune telling, but for you to have these precognitions or these feelings or that feeling of that energy and all this other stuff, I'd never denounced it. It's just not for me. But like feeling like hearing the impact that those experiences had on you, possibly. I mean, I do like my spontaneity in life. I kind of do like, as much as I like to plan or overthink, I do not like knowing also. And like you said, I love mysteries. Like I can see the appeal of that, but I would be open to it. I'm not saying I would do it, but I would definitely be open to it. I wouldn't go there saying like, oh, let's see what you have to say. Like that's my younger self for sure. Very like, that's not real. You can bullshit a bullshitter, kind of thing. And like, how could you possibly know this? Like, but then as I got older and like, being in love kind of had like given me more complex emotions. So I like understand there's more than just like basic stuff. Energy is a real thing. afterlife, probably a real thing, all these things. So like it's opened me up as I've gotten older to the possibility of these things. So I would be open to it.
Dog, we got to take more hallucinogens together.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Hey man, we're going on the camping trip.
Let's do it.
It's time.
It's time.
Once again.
It helped me as a digression.
Dig my feet into the ground again.
There it is.
Get myself grounded. I like that.
What about you, Dosan? Have you? I before you answer, I feel like you've been to because you're knowledgeable on this. You study it. I feel like you've been to a psychic before. Is that true?
I mean, my family is like full of psychics.
But like, have you gone seeking? Well,
I have.
Okay.
I've called us like.
Call me now,
I've talked to a psychic.
Call me now, Dosan.
I will tell you your future. It sucks.
It sucks.
No, it's okay. It doesn't suck. It's
no, it is. It's okay. It's
No. You're in a safe place.
I'm at a very like a turnaround point right now. And all
I
that
like
stuff.
it, man. Hey,
But yeah, my future's bright. That's why I'm wearing these sunglasses.
That's
true.
That's why I'm wearing these sunglasses because my future's bright.
only at night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I'll wear
Let
my
me hear it, brother.
sunglasses.
So yeah, I have talked to a psychic once, and like she did the thing where like I listened to her podcast, right?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Her-
Is
name is
this a
Jessica
prevalent? Is this a
Yeah.
prevalent person?
She's like a kind of like an underground niche, like a spiritualist awakening, like stuff
Okay.
like that type of
All right.
podcast.
Yeah.
And then on the time, like she also does open like readings for you, right? She opens up calendars and then you like can call her and then you pay her and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So I that one time I got that reading, and like before I had listened to her podcast, and she talked about like she doesn't like to give bad news, and if she sees something bad on the cards, she like starts like fiddling around, or like she starts trying to like go around it, or like
okay.
can't really describe it, right? And when I got like a 30-minute reading, I think. And she was like, yeah, what are you feeling? How was it feeling? Like, are you feeling like these intense energies right now? Like there's all these planets, this and that. And we talked about that for a bit. And then she went into it and was like, it was asking about my future. Like, I feel so uncertain. I don't know where I'm headed. Like, I'm so lost, this and that. Right. And she put it down. She put it down. She put it down. She put the cards down. Right. And then she starts talking. She was like, oh, there's like a lot happening in your life. There's like a lot of this karma you're cleansing right now. And then she goes into it. And then she was like, started like doing the thing she was talking about, like where she was going around, but she wasn't like saying anything. She was kind of nervous about it.
Yeah.
And I knew because I listened to her podcast, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Right?
like a trigger for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like I was
right.
like, oh no. But I was like, I started blabbering and just started talking. Like, usually good people who have those types of things are really good listeners and they like draw you in. Right. And then I just started verbally vomiting everything. Right. I don't know if this is this. I don't know if it's that and this and that. And then she started like, oh, you're coming in with like super weird, intense energy. Right.
Damn.
So what she had pulled was a tower card. It's in the tower card is a picture of a tower on fire and people jumping off of it.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Pretty intense.
That is, yeah,
Right.
that is
Is there
intense
like a little
energy.
plane like in the?
It's a yeah. There is like a play.
Bush did 420.
Yeah, Bush definitely did 420. So yeah, she had pulled a tower card, and then she was like, "You're also in a karmic relationship, right?"
Mm.
When she said that, like two people popped in my head, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's either these two people." And then I was like, turned out it was like both. Like after I like lived through the whole thing, and I was like, Jesus Christ, like one person highlighted the other person.
Oh man.
And they were related in a way of they're not related. It's my relationship to them that was related.
Right.
Sure.
And in a tower moment, like you come to realization about something, and then like your life in a way kind of falls apart. Like something is on an the structures, the footing is not solid.
Yeah, your foundation is
your
like
foundation
crumbling,
is
right?
like not solid.
Okay.
So that's why the tower falls, right? So whatever you're in, that's exactly what happened in my life.
Okay.
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah. So I was like, ooh. So in a way, like she wasn't very specific.
Yeah.
But like she said something like, oh, this is what's happening. And then you're the one who kind of has to draw it out of you in a way, right?
Right. Which is good. I mean, what you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, right? You said if someone was like hyper specific, you wouldn't trust them that much. So
Yeah.
that vagueness helped you kind of search your brain to kind of figure out what was going on, right?
Yeah.
Is that a strategy? You imagine for that vagueness to try to make you kind of soul search to like bring whatever's going on
soul
out.
search in a way. Like if somebody says like you're in this, you like, or you know, right?
Right. Yeah.
But like you don't want to be like pinpoint like it's this, it's that, right?
Right.
But it also there's a thing of resonance. Like if somebody's talking about something, and if it's true for me, I feel it in my body. Like I feel something shivering, like sensation go up my spine.
Okay.
And I go like, oh, like it kind of feels good. Like, you know? So I'm like, oh, okay. They're telling the truth, or like it resonates within me.
Okay.
On a deeper level. So like it feels right. You know? So yeah. She was kind of right.
Wow.
So you would be open to it.
So yeah, I mean, I'm open to it and I've done it.
My man.
Yeah.
I too am open to seeing a psychic. I think it would be interesting to go to, because I've never really had. I've had I hesitate to say I've had a tarot card reading, because a friend was like, I bought tarot cards in a book and I know how to do it. I was like, you just got this yesterday, but okay. So I think that somebody who's had years of experience, or just somebody that I trust more, outside of like somebody who just went to Boulders, you know, like I would much rather. Oh, R.I.P. Boulders. If you don't know what that is,
yeah, that's a bummer, dude.
No. But yeah, I would want to go to somebody who practices this, and they say, this is what I'm about. This is my life, and I want to give this news to people. Just like you're saying, like, what was her name again?
Jessa Reed.
Jessa Reed.
Jessa Reed. Yeah.
I like
Jessa Reed the cards.
Jessa Reed.
Jessa Reed my energy.
Yeah.
Well, she's
That's
putting
bad.
herself out there, you know, for that, because she wants to help people, and like I think that would be a much more attractive thought to me.
Right. And her whole gimmick is like she's a reluctant helper. Like she doesn't really want to do this, but like, you know,
It calls her, right?
Yeah, it's her gift.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But she's a comedian. Like that's her.
Oh, that's partially why you saw her too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The comedy bug.
Yeah.
So-
The comedy book.
Do you guys think that there would be a time that this kind of magic would stop being sought out? Because like this type of maybe magic is a strong word, but I'll call it for that, for lack of a better term, precognitions and fortune reading. Do you think that it would? Yeah. Do you think that it would ever stop? Because we've always had people that have been in this line of work, and we'll call back to the oracles of Greece. Where they were inside a mountain and they were breathing gases and having predictions about people,
Right.
and things, and kings would go and talk to them. I think what is it, Hamlet, Macbeth, that they even like have a callback to it, because that's how prominent it is in history. And even now, like I'll bring up a brief story. I know Ronald Reagan, for a fact, saw a psychic almost every single day. And then he became president, and then he kept seeing that psychic, and she was there for all 8 years of his presidency or whatever. And he called her almost every single day about the biggest decisions of the country. And she was a psychic for the stars. Her name was Joan Quigley, and she spoke to Nancy Reagan a lot, almost every day, Ronald Reagan at least once a week. She even had her own dedicated phone line. If you guys are interested in listening about the biography of this woman, Joan Quigley, Behind the Bastards podcast did a really great multi-episode on her. But I wanted to read one quote here from there's a back and forth of like, was she really involved in the daily activities of the White House? And this is what she said. She would participate in a more intimate way than the publicly recognized inside of the greatest importance. So she herself claims that she was like in contact.
Oh, full blown.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't enough to do a dedicated line and all this other stuff. Yeah, I did that just so I can hem and haw at you.
Right.
Off the record, of course.
And all of this is to say, again, do you think going back from ancient Greece to even the 80s, people in power will keep seeking out magic like this? Will this always be around?
I think we're at a place, like specifically the age that we're in, like the age of the Aquarius, right?
Right.
So we're going into more intuitive feel of things in that sense. Like we're going into more feminine energy, I believe. I'm like Aquarius, water, feminine,
Nice.
right? So like before that, we were very like dense and very masculine, like almost the broken masculine type of energy, where everything is striving, force, right? Now we're getting into actually empowering everybody to be more intuitive, to flow with life, right? Rather than try to force everything, you let it happen. And then you kind of like use all your senses to work through it. Rather than just like, all right, I'm going to do this, everything planned out. You're a little bit more open. So in a sense, it's empowering everybody to be that themselves.
Okay.
Right? So like, obviously there are some people who are probably better at it than others, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, the age of the gurus is over. They like,
Okay.
Right? So everything that you need to know, everything that you want to know, you will have to search within yourself. Right? Like, even if you look at the world and the reality that is happening outside of us, we're in a, like, it's almost like a weird simulation glitch type of thing happening where you don't even know what is real anymore, right? There is like AI generated things.
Right.
And like, what is the truth? The government lies, your boss, like the corporations that you're working for lie. Like, there's just all these things. Like, what is the truth, right?
Right.
And at the end of it, everybody has a different truth,
Right.
Sure, the truth is this whole big thing, and then this is the truth. The thing is, everybody's looking through a tiny, like, little hole and then interpreting it and going like, this is the truth. And then it kind of comes like, goes in a way of like, it's a distorted truth, right? So distortion creates Maya. Maya is the illusion of the reality that we're living and all that stuff. So to answer your question simply, it's always going to be there for sure because it's always been innate within everybody, right? Certain gifts are much stronger in some people, maybe genetically, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, empower yourself, explore those things, meditate, get yourself in a calm state, see what happens. But at the same time, like, don't go out of your way seeking it also. Like, it might feel weird to, like, just, it'll happen. Don't worry.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't go to a psychic.
If you want, do whatever you feel is right.
I had a Groupon.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Well, hey, man.
3B. I like it.
If you go to a psychic who gives coupons, then I don't know if that's a good one.
Are you saying that I got scammed?
No.
I'm saying you shouldn't believe in psychics. They are charlatans. Like, come on. Facts, bro.
That's true.
Yeah.
Over what you feel in the moment. Yeah.
Right.
We gotta remember that. All right, Cale, quickly. Yes or no?
This will come off as harsh, and I'm sure, I guess it is a harsh look. I feel like people can't accept that we're just alive and they have to put more importance on our lives than what it is. In terms of energies, I fully believe everybody feels that and this and that, but I feel like we can't accept that we're just here for our lifespan and that's it. I feel like we have to I think human beings have always put self-importance like inflated.
That's all we know is us.
Yeah, is to put like there is a higher power, there is an afterlife, there is it's almost like we can't live just knowing that this is it, and rightfully so. I mean, like knowing my dad was older, I was always like, okay, there's got to be like something after because I can't have these very complex emotions and it have mean nothing, and then we're just dead. So like I feel like there's always going to be this kind of longing for something or another energy or something to tap into, or like an elevated sense of self, or like you said, your higher self. So I don't feel like that'll ever go away. I don't think we're ever going to be at a point where we're just so desensitized or disillusioned to where we're just like, oh, well, that's the day to day. And then we die and then that's it. Like, I don't want that to happen. I don't think it will, but I don't want that to happen either. But I do think that we just can't live with just that being our lives. I don't feel like a lot of people would want that. So I think it'll be around for as long as we're around.
Yeah. I think we'll always be seeking, and like Dosan says, like we'll have peoples who are born with this ability, whether others seek it out or not. I firmly believe that this will never stop. Right. This is a magic and an insight of the universe that we still, after thousands and thousands of years on Earth, have not figured out, but we're tapped into. And with that, we're going to conclude our episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. This was really fun. I really appreciate this. We're going to go into sign-offs and socials. So, Cale, if we're going to find you online, where are we going to find you, brother?
Ooh, you can find me on my Instagram at TallTaleCale with an underscore in between each word and a C instead of a K on Cale. And my TikTok is bearded_giant. We also have the weekly Tall Talk TikTok where we post our videos and Tyler's call outs and everything. And we've also been doing our live shows recently on YouTube, which has been a lot of fun. We're looking to have, more of that and make that possibly a weekly thing. We're working on it and figuring stuff out to bring that out. But follow us. Our channel there is the weekly Tall Talk, and subscribe. And we're going to get the content out to you. We're working on it.
Yeah, you brought up a live show. We're actually, our next live show is going to be July 19th, 2023. We're looking at 8:30 p.m. That Wednesday night. So we really hope that you join us.
I was just going to say, it's not only our next live show, but it's also
It's an auspicious date.
The Grand Master's birthday over there.
Yes.
Oh, it's your birthday.
It's my birthday. The live show will be my birthday.
Yeah, dude, we'll just do it.
21 shots.
Just come over here and like hang out.
Yeah.
Just be in the stream in and out the stream, fucking around. Yeah. Hell yeah.
I would love to get my hair cut.
Yeah, let's put the video out. Everybody gets a mullet.
Everybody gets the same haircut.
Oh, bro. Yeah, let's do it. I'm down for that.
I think
Oh,
I
guys,
can
I
do a
mean,
little
you
bit
just
more.
got to do this.
Call
If it's
Lester.
the same haircut, I mean, everybody's getting shaved down.
Well, if you want to hear more from me, I have an Instagram that you can contact me at Corey.Andre, COREY, _ONDREY. We also have the weekly Tall Talk on Instagram. We post videos there, some skits every so often. We'll let you know when new episodes are coming out. And if you comment, we will get back to you. We really appreciate all of your support. And if you want to continue supporting us, we also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/talltailnetwork. If you are interested in supporting the show and helping us get out more products and skits, we would love to hear from you and love to talk to you. Dosan, you pitched a little bit earlier and we want to hear from you again. How are we going to get a hold of you? And if we're interested in this type of conversation,
time,
where
brother.
can we find you?
Here's your ad pitch,
Right.
elevator pitch.
So, yeah, you can find me anywhere. MAZY719 is usually my username for a lot of things. On Instagram, that's how you can find me.
Okay.
Email address is the same at Gmail. And also, Sushi Moose.
There it is.
There is no and. 2 words together.
Yeah, just
sushi,
Sushi
like
Moose.
the food,
and
moose,
the word.
like the animal.
You got to
Moose.
go to twitch.com/ and search Sushi Moose.
Right.
And you will get directly a hold.
You'll see a picture of
Right.
Dosan and only Dosan
Right.
He's doing tarot readings.
on Twitch.
On Twitch.
That would be sick, actually.
Oh, bro, just,
That could be cool. That's your business right there.
I mean,
There it
people do that, I think.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah, they do
That's
like,
cool.
they do
What?
energy readings and they do it on like different platforms.
That's kind of dope, actually.
Yeah, they do it on, they do it on Patreon and stuff too.
Well, maybe we'll do some Patreon reads.
We got to hire
Patreon
Dosan.
reads.
There it is.
You guys can also send your questions and queries to talltailnetwork@gmail.com. We'll talltail you later.
Perfect. All right.
I've heard it a million times and it just never gets old. I fucking love it. Oh, fuck.